Hi everyone, myself Ankita Chakrabarti. So, without delaying a minute, let's get into the story.
As we all know that Diwali is the festival of lights. It's that time of the year which brings mammoth happiness in one's family. The term Diwali ki chutti is so magical to listen for the individuals who stay away from their parents and family due to their jobs. Therefore, they come back to their family and rejoice that moment of life. So here we are going to hear about such a kind of person who meets his parents in Diwali holiday. Mr. Shubhashish Banerjee, a renowned master of tech company, is a very busy individual. Mr. Banerjee says, finally, Diwali is coming soon. A bit less workload and more to be in bliss. He decides to visit his native town located in the state of West Bengal, along with his wife and daughter. He boarded on a flight and reached his hometown within few hours. The little daughter of Mr. Banerjee, who was 7 years old, ran and embraced her grandparents. The house was well decorated with festive lights, crystal sunhemp lights, and happiness prevailed in the atmosphere. The children and adults made flower garlands, arranged diyas and candles, and made beautiful rangolis, enhancing the look of the house. The firecrackers were also arranged and kept in a place. Mr. Banerjee said, after a while, "It's already 5:30 p.m." and he switched on the festive lights. Everyone was very busy doing different tasks, some arranging sweets, some inviting people to burst firecrackers together, and lighting up diyas and candles. After an hour or two, Mr.
Mr. Banerjee,
Mukherjee receives a call. He yelled at everyone and asked, "Where's my daughter? Where is my daughter?" And his wife said, "Calm down. Maybe she's bursting crackers or in some neighbor's house distributing sweets." Mr. Banerjee shouted again, "Why are you all so irresponsible? She's a kid. Why you all left her alone?" Mr. Banerjee's phone rang again and then he became dumbstruck and sat crestfallen on bed. He instinctively rushed out of his house saying, "I will save you. Nothing will happen to you. I am coming to you, beta." His family members tried hard to know from him what has actually happened, but all their attempts were in vain. Mrs. Banerjee couldn't control herself emotionally and started weeping. Meanwhile, Mr. Banerjee utters to himself, "Where did that person hide my daughter? I have to reach the destination which he mentioned as early as possible. Think positive. He can do nothing to my daughter. I am her father. I will save my child from him. But who is he? Shall I inform police? No, no," he said. "If I inform police, then he will. My daughter." He was anxiously searching for the destination. He finally reached there. It was a slum area. There he noticed a house. Hardly any light penetrated there. Mr. Banerjee lighted his torch of mobile and saw a big door which wasn't locked. He pushed the door hard and entered the house. Mrs. Banerjee and her in-laws started looking for her daughter. After a while, her daughter called out, "Ma, what happened?" Mrs. Banerjee cried out, holding her daughter, and asked, "Why Where did you go? Ma, I went to the neighbor's auntie's house to burst firecrackers. Other children assembled there too, she said. Mrs. Banerjee's mother-in-law uttered, Then where is my son? Tears rolled down her cheeks. The family immediately went to the police station for FIR. The police asked, Why did he leave the house? Mrs. Banerjee informed that somebody phone called him and he uttered that he is going to save his daughter, and then he hurriedly went out of the house. The police asked, Did he receive any call regarding ransacking? Cause it's clear that someone threatened him about his daughter's danger. So, did they ask money? Mrs. Banerjee said, He did not mention anything like that. My daughter is here, which means someone wants to. She cried, My husband is in danger. Please find him out, police officer. Mr. Banerjee saw himself that he was tied with rope to a chair in a dull dark room. Slight beam of light passed in the room. He noticed a shadowy figure entering the room and coming closer to him. Mr. Banerjee, with a drowsy eyes, asked that shadowy figure in a shivery voice, Who are you? Give my daughter back. He saw that shadowy figure is grasping metals and bending it, crashing it so easily. Creepy, uncanny, eerie sounds were being heard all around. And then Mr. Banerjee saw something which was completely bewildering for him. He saw no beam of light in the room. A fluorescent tube gradually started to glow in a dark room, in air, without any support, and that too was glowing brighter and brighter as it was coming towards Mr. Banerjee. Gasping out of breath, Mr. Banerjee rambles incoherently. My daughter, give my daughter back. My daughter. Then he saw blood drops which was shedding from that shadowy figure's hands. And those blood-red hands were directed towards the neck of Mr. Banerjee, and he suffered from cardiac arrest and became unconscious. The police inquired, Did Mr. Banerjee took his phone with him? Is his phone switched on? Then we can track the location of his phone and find him out. Mrs. Banerjee replied, Yes, his phone is with him. But I called him several times. It was answering not reachable. Within an hour, the police tracked Mr. Shubhashish Banerjee's phone and reached that location to rescue him. The policeman saw him in that deplorable condition, untied ropes, and checked his pulse. He was still alive. They immediately admitted him in a nearby hospital, cause it's an emergency case. Mrs. Banerjee yearns for her husband. Then she receives the phone call from police. She, along with her father-in-law, rushed towards the hospital. The doctors said, His condition is very critical. He was supposed to give chest compressions at a very early age, but it's too late. Still, we are trying. He's also suffering from acute pneumothorax. We have also checked his blood tests, and from that sample, we got to know that he was injected with poison. It's very dangerous because that poison has already spread into his entire blood. We also gave CPR, but he didn't respond. We injected him antidote of that poison. Though it's too late, but let's see. If he responds, that will be great. Mrs. Banerjee is shattered to hear the news. After an hour, a doctor came out of the operation theatre. Pulling his mask down, he uttered, "We used defibrillator when no option was left in our hands. But still, he didn't survive. I'm sorry." Mrs. Banerjee and her father-in-law started sobbing. The police took the investigation charge of this case on them and says, "I feel sorry to declare that now the body will go to post-mortem and not for the cremation ceremony." Mr. Banerjee's mother and her daughter received the news on phone and were dejected. His daughter started vandalism and threw and were tearing the garlands and was crying continuously. The police sent his forces to give protection to Mr. Banerjee's mother and daughter cause they are alone at home. After a while, a man in disguise came in front of Mr. Banerjee's house, observed that a girl is sitting in the front stairs of the house and weeping. While the neighbors were delivering condolences to Mr. Banerjee's mother, the disguised man paced towards Mr. Banerjee's daughter and said, "Why are you crying on this Diwali? Wait, let me uplift your mood." She cried without uttering a single word. Then that man gifted her perfume and said, "This is for you. You are a cute little girl. Please don't cry. Let me spray this on you. You will feel delighted by its fragrance." He did a lots of spray and she started to cough. Then the man said, "Little princess, see what I have brought for you. Firecrackers!" Mr. Banerjee's daughter threw those crackers and shouted at him, "See, I don't want you. Don't disturb me. Go away." The man lighted up the cracker from the candle and was moving closer to the girl. And then the police officer fired his pistol. The firecracker fell down from the man's hand. He was about to run. Then the officer shooted him in his right leg. Losing his balance, the man fell down in anguish. Mrs. Banerjee came running and took her daughter in her arms. The policeman, pointing gun at the man's head, interrogated him. The disguised man then revealed his real self. He was yelling and crying out of frustration and confessed the entire thing. Yes, yes, I have injected poison to Shubhashish. I did prank call to him. Yes, yes, yes. I have said that his daughter is with me and I made him to listen the voice of his daughter which I recorded in my phone when she was coming back from school. I disguised myself and talked to her and recorded her voice there. Shubhashish arrived to pick his daughter from school and that time I escaped. I ordered Shubhashish to come in my area if he wants to rescue his daughter. That too without informing police. Naturally, what I expected just happened. He came and as he entered, I hypnotized him and tied him with a rope to a chair. Then I gradually instilled fear within him. I made some metal stuffs using gallium. Its physical property is when it gets rubbed at human body temperature, it can easily bend its and its shape can be changed. And he thought some paranormal activities are going on. Then I took a fluorescent tube in a dark room. I started to bend it as it got energy from my hands. It started to lit up in the dark room. Generally, he got scared. And then I made a blood red color complex. Iron 3 thiocyanate or ferric thiocyanate. And he thought blood is dripping from my hands. Such a stupid guy.
Ferric chloride reacts with potassium thiocyanate to give ferric thiocyanate and potassium chloride. I was about to grab his neck. Then Shubhashish became unconscious and I injected poison into his bloodstream and eloped from there. I thought to kill even his daughter too. Therefore, I sprayed perfume on her. It's inflammable and gave firecracker to her so that the man laughed in an evil way. The policeman assaulted him and asked, "Why did you do all this? Answer."
Answer me. The man said, revenge, jealousy, whatever you may call it. I don't care. Shubhashish was my childhood best friend. He excelled in every field since childhood. He was a talented guy, and I was a failure. I started to envy him since I grew up. He got good job, became rich, and just forgot me in his days of happiness. I felt insecure but didn't do anything. As days passed by, my anger and frustration increased. He was so happy with his life, and my condition was becoming pathetic day by day. Therefore, I decided to kill him and destroy his family cause I couldn't tolerate his happiness anymore. He laughed. The police caught hold him and handcuffed him, and the story ends here.
So, thank you for lending me your precious time, my beautiful viewers. Subscribe to watch more such contents. Thank you once again.